Here's a reality check. The world is running out of software. How could that be, right? Software is everywhere in our lives, from the apps in our phones to the cars we drive. And the digital oil field would not exist without software to move data, process, and analyze it. But you can't make new software or the latest version without people, and that's the big problem. Digital transformation is simply impossible without software engineers, which only intensifies the widening gap between developer supply and demand. The numbers don't lie. There are only around 27 million skilled developers in the world. It's a global problem. In the US alone, there were 1.4 million unfilled software engineering jobs last year, and the number of computer science graduates was only around 400,000. Energy companies must compete with every sector for tech talent. Yet even big software companies are losing developers. 87% of businesses report a developer shortage, and the number one area they are feeling the pain is data analytics. Analytics are in even higher demand for oil and gas, where data is the lifeblood of an operator. It's survival of the fittest. Your team needs new digital skill sets to compete and thrive. If the biggest software companies are having trouble hiring, how can energy companies ever hope to become evergreen digital innovators? Obviously, you could train up a new army of coders, or you could clone the ones we already have, but that would take too much time, and let's face it, cloning hasn't really been perfected yet. No, we need software now. If you believe that the energy company of the future is digital first, then someone needs to make that future possible, and that's Corva's mission. We've got unique digital oilfield challenges, like processing massive volumes of real-time well site data each and every day and ensuring data quality. That's a really hard thing to do. Oilfield business challenges are changing and evolving every year. Your workflows and tools need to keep pace. You need a software development framework that stands up to your tough challenges, enabling energy companies to change at the pace that the industry changes. Corva Dev Center is how you do it. The same platform that effortlessly processes terabytes of real-time data each and every day is now yours to develop with. Dev Center is for professional developers and anyone with a passion to solve problems with analytics, crush drilling and completions projects, advance operational excellence, and dominate your competition. Dev Center is bigger than DNC. It's for the entire energy enterprise, enabling you to build apps for production ops, finance, land, and midstream too. The complexities of Python, JavaScript, and MongoDB are seamlessly managed behind the scenes. At Building Blocks, Corva's stunning UI, comprehensive API, and data pipelines are at your fingertips. It's only been a year since we opened the doors to the Dev Center, and the industry went all in, from super majors to major oilfield service companies. Today, we're developing the future of energy software together. Now you can control your destiny and build exactly what you want fast.
Thank you. Wow, there's a big buzz in here, and I'm not sure if it's the coffee, that jazz band, or the price of oil. Saw a few Lamborghinis in the parking lot, so it's probably the price of oil. Anyways, no limits, innovation at your full potential. We'll unpack what that means over the next 30 minutes. But first, welcome to Corvacon. Good morning to everyone here and the hundreds live streaming from around the globe. The Corvacon mission is community, collaboration, and connection. We want to bring together the best minds to accelerate the future. So hopefully you will make a meaningful connection today. Maybe someone sitting right next to you. Maybe you strike up an interesting conversation and are able to trade notes on how you are building the future. That's what this is all about. This is not a sales conference. Everyone here today is interested in building the future and what that looks like. Let's get started and get the creative juices flowing. At the Corvacon last spring, we saw a noticeable difference between our SP-style talks and our developer-focused talks. People's eyes really lit up learning about the opportunities for building the future in code. There was this holy smokes moment when the energy pros in the room realized they were no longer sitting in the back seat, and now they are driving to create change firsthand. No limitations. That's when it sunk in, and we decided to really lean in and make Corvacon 100% about you and building the future of oil and gas. So we're embracing Dev Talk full on. Corvacon is now from the perspective of how do I actually build the future? And that means learning to code, experimenting, thinking digitally first, accelerating idea to deployment, and it means that a community that's built around you and supports you. Now here's the problem. The world is understaffed with software developers. It's a very serious problem. If every company in the future is digital, how do oil companies build the competency to compete? That's what we're here to talk about today. We need to upskill the entire industry to be able to create the tools needed to make operations cheaper, faster, cleaner, and more efficient. Innovation at full potential. Let's make that happen. So the question is, how do you increase the capacity of oil industry workers? You democratize development. Build the tools and community around a new way of solving problems. Let's get started by taking a look at what's new and on the horizon.
How do you think Dev Center has revolutionized app development for the oil and gas industry?
Corva's development center is a concerted effort to address some of the technological gaps that the oil and gas industry has had in the past. And so operators and service companies alike have always had a focus on big data. So each well is a project in itself that involves the collection and analysis of large, complex data sets.
First of all, it's all about the people, I guess, because we have a lot of really experienced devs who are able to deliver high-quality product in very short terms.
First is having a focused team of front-end, back-end, domain experts, and designers. And they're working as a single unit. And the key here is basically a constant communication, receiving, prioritizing, and addressing the feedback.
Fit for purpose apps, right? Pertinent information. We get it out fast, get it to your dashboard so you can use it and the rest of your team can use it. And just to add on that, Brandon and I both have experience working with major operators. And so working with huge enterprise software packages, waiting, a year, even more to get some stuff implemented. With Corva, it's literally a matter of days.
When we released Dev Center, the prototyping, designing, and development steps of this process became much, much easier because of the component library and design library that we created. So for now, we can focus more on user needs.
What's good about Dev Center that you can roll back to more stable version at any time, and you can also better control all your versions that you've been deploying.
But right now we have our library with a lot of components, starting from simple stuff like buttons, icons, etc., and including something more advanced like headers, sidebars, etc. So you can just import them and use them.
When I joined Corva 3 years ago, we established a project, Corva Design System. What it means, we created reusable library of basic design elements. We also crafted those elements in code, so any developer can access those elements through the design library and code library. What it means for us now is that we just already have it developed and we can just reuse it in our future products.
Having that ability to look at everything you need all in one place instantly is huge, right? And making these decisions that we need to make, real time, or getting something out to the field so they can make decisions in enough time to improve, drilling is huge. You just easily copy it onto your local machine. You can use whatever development environment you want, and then it builds out a template for you. And there you go. You can start developing right away.
Innovation at your full potential. Oil and gas teams don't want one-off solutions. They need an ecosystem. What does innovation look like going forward? To talk about this, I want to bring on Michael Cortez.
Thanks, Ryan. Appreciate it. So let's talk about the trifecta of innovation, right? So operators, service companies, and startups. Every day I work with all these types of companies, and I see firsthand like the magic of working together. So instead of working against each other, we're coming together like to solve solutions. So you've heard of data silos, right? A lot of companies have this, but there are innovation silos also. So what we're doing here at Dev Center, we're breaking down those walls. So operators, they get to build business processes, implement some proprietary algorithms, and deploy those. It's pretty awesome. Service companies, they're able to create some stickiness. They're able to get in front of the customers and build really engaging experiences, and they're able to do it fast. And then startups can accelerate, and they can get out to market really quickly. And so this makes it so much better for them, and they can go globally too, especially with Corva. So they can do all this with a click of a button. So let's take a look at what they're building.
We are most excited for the sustainable change our Alliance ecosystems brings to our mutual customers. Whether our clients are in relentless pursuit of autonomous rigs or simply are focusing on cross-discipline data quality, our Alliance system has them covered.
Here at Patterson, we want to focus on our differentiators. We have applications that are industry leading, but Corva enables us to reach a wider audience with those. We don't want multiple sign-ons to be a deterrent for our products. And we appreciate Corva's forward thinking. I think we're alike in that we both believe that we have to move the industry forward, working and partnering to make each other better.
In the Corva Dev Center, what we're doing is we're taking our spooler technology, which allows a customer to visualize inside the wellhead, and we're integrating that into the Corva visualization platform with analytics. And so the customer will be able to observe our spooler technology in real time, along with our control technology from Envision, along with the Corva business analytics.
We are currently working in two phases, right? Phase one is connecting the data stream from Corva to Reveal. Phase two is then taking some of those calculations and some of the analysis that we can do and starting to build apps that can be available in real time for customers to help them with their decision making.
So what the partnership between Corva and Nexteer mean for our mutual clients is, first of all, data transparency. All too often you have silos of information coming from either a service company, client, or maybe even a third-party analytics company. What our partnership does between Corva and Nexteer is actually bringing all of that together, being able to house that through an integrated platform that not only hosts all of Nexteer's integrated data, but also hosts that data directly to our clients. That way, both Nexteer and our clients are able to make decisions real time using the exact same data coming directly from our locations.
Corva Dev Center allows us to do three things. First of all, it gives us access to modern front-end technologies that allows us to build cool graphics by the existing components in their libraries. Secondly, it gives us access to real-time data streams from a number of rigs, including our customers' rigs. And then thirdly, it gives us access to a number of customers that are already using the Corva platform.
The future between Corva and Nexteer and our partnership is really going to be focused on integrating our cloud architecture. Eventually, we want to get to the point that those extra potential failure points, not only on the hardware side, but also for our crews, is then eliminated from the process.
Together, Corva and IWS are driving the next generation of high-impact solutions that are going to reduce risk, drive down cost, and lower greenhouse gas emissions through digital integration and operational efficiency enhancements for completions.
The oil and gas industry is transforming to a digital world, and Corva is helping to pave that path. Specifically with our partners, we enable them by providing a way to get their content out there, for their clients to view their product and service in the same platforms they're viewing other important data that they are collecting and viewing.
We're really excited about what's on the horizon. We have a really special guest today. I want to invite up one of the world's largest rig contractors, the CEO of Patterson-UTI, Andy Hendricks.
It's good to be here today. It's a good thing I didn't wear a tie, obviously. This is a very unique organization and structure and team that Corva has put together here. What you've done is really something special. I've been involved with real-time data transmission, moving data from drilling rigs offshore, land rigs to various centers and trying to get it to operators for over 30 years. And I would like to say that historically, one of the challenges that the industry's really faced in trying to manage this is how do you get people to collaborate? And in some of these systems that we've used over the decades, collaboration was really hardwired. And so we forced people into certain ways to work, certain ways to think, certain ways to share data, which worked at the time we did it, but there's certainly better ways to do it. And I think what's exciting about what Corva's done is put together an organic way of collaboration. And so today we announced that Corva and Patterson-UTI have reached an agreement to collaborate together as well. So it's not just about collaboration across functions and divisions, within the oil and gas company or at the service or rig contractor, but how do companies like Corva and Patterson-UTI even work together? Corva has data systems. Corva is managing data. We have data systems. We're managing data. How do we make all that work together? And how do we make it work together for the benefit of our shared customers? And that's what we want to figure out. And that's why Dharmesh and I have spent a couple of years now talking off and on about how can we make this work. And we finally reached an agreement that we think is beneficial for both companies. We think it's beneficial for the industry. We think it's beneficial for our customers. And we're really excited. Again, it's about collaboration and doing it in an organic way and letting it grow in the directions that it needs to grow, and not try to hardwire and overplan what that path looks like, because I think that's going to change. And as the industry continues to change and evolve, just like it has, through the shale revolution and whatever our next step is in this revolution that we do in oil and gas, I think it's quite exciting. And I really applaud the Corva team on what they've put together. Been following all of y'all for years. I've seen how you've grown in the market. You've really established yourselves as a platform for operators to be able to come together and manage their workflow. And it's quite impressive what you've done. We're excited about our own data systems and what we've done as well. And that's why we think it's a good idea if we collaborate and work together and try to share that and do that for the benefit of our customers together. So appreciate the chance to just come up and say a few words today in your event. Thank you for that. Thanks to Dharmesh and the team for working together over a period of time to kind of structure how companies like ourselves can work together. And we're excited about the path forward. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Andy. We're thrilled about this partnership. Innovation is a team sport. By joining forces, there are really no limits to what we can do. We've got about 50 apps in the Dev Center pipeline from a variety of partners. This is just the beginning. The Corva App Store is making it easier for people to find and use apps. This is a call out to anyone thinking about their next big idea, but just don't know where to begin. One login, one place for data sharing, and amazing visualization capabilities. How do you build for the App Store? Dev Center is the enabler of the App Store, allowing everyone to build the future. It's about operations, it's about procurement, it's about logistics. The sky is the limit. You really can build anything. The old bottlenecks to building and getting your app out there are now gone. No more barriers, just relentless innovation. Since last Corvacon, the Dev Center has grown, the App Store has grown, and Corva itself is changing and growing too. To represent this transformation, we're unveiling our new multidimensional logo, bringing people together to make a better future and a better digital oil field. Innovation continues to accelerate and compound. There's one more thing that I'd like to talk about today, and I think it's really special. Introducing the brand new Corva Fund. This is a $5 million investment fund to back the dreamers, tinkerers, and hobbyists working on the next big idea. Corva was born out of a garage, and we think the next big idea will come from somewhere similar. We've seen how hard it is to get started in oil and gas. But think Dev Center and the App Store are unlocking new possibilities for how you can deploy to hundreds of rigs literally overnight, how you can build in a fraction of the time, and how you can combine data in meaningful ways. What we're doing is creating an even bigger catalyst for digital transformation. That's it for the keynote this morning. It's really short and sweet. We're working on bringing that down. And thank you to everyone that's watching. We're going to take a coffee break and in 10 minutes be back here for the hackathon presentations. I've seen a glimpse and you really don't want to miss it. These guys have worked for the last 24 hours. Maybe some of them didn't even sleep last night. And I think there's some really cool innovation coming up. So thanks.
Man, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. Answer to what? You don't have a thingy? Wait a minute.
So, yeah, this one, shell. Why does it say no data?
It's coming in, I think. It'll keep changing. Let's hit the app. Go up. Confront you.
The problem with Oxy is you have to hit submit and then you have to wait.
For how long?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Did you try it out before?
20, 21, 22, 23,
30 seconds. So actually have it open on another tab.
So
just duplicate the tab.
So problem is that's what happens right now.
Just keep this open.
Yeah.
And frontier and shell on the other one, so that it's instant.
Yeah.
I'll tell more.
Yeah, tell more. What's that? want to show it yet. So what we'll be doing is I made a separate app for this one so that you don't have to hit submit. So if you go on there, see the app, then you can scroll down and you can use it as is. And then the other teams can have the other. It's like 30 seconds. See 1, 4, 5, 6. What's faster? 12, 13. So almost like 20-25 seconds, but here it's going to appear too long, right? So that's why what I did was I've just opened one tab here which has your app, and then here we could just look with Frontier and Shell. And then we have Pata.
I'm sorry?
Did this start working, the HDMI?
Back there? All right.
Thank you.
We'll take it.
Yeah, it's starting.
Okay. I'm gonna ask Michael Cortez to do it. Can I hide your bar?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
the problem is we might have to flip the tabs.
Okay.
Oh, this guy.
That's fine.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that's good.
That looks good.
Yeah.
All right. If you would find your seat. If you do want to keep chatting, you feel free to go downstairs or head down the hallway, but we're going to kick off with the hackathon presentations. So. Do the video. We're super excited to launch the hackathon today with the main Corvacon event tomorrow. And so thank you for those that decided to join today. We're super excited about building some apps and working with you and seeing what we can do in the next 24 hours.
It's a pretty cool environment. It seems like it's kind of it's like a pressure cooker a little bit, where everyone is just like, trying to turn an idea into something like within a short period of time.
The hackathon is about learning what we can do with the data and opening up creativity of the types of applications that can solve real business problems and be very focused on solving the challenges of tomorrow that we don't know exist.
So what we're doing today is we invited a bunch of our customers that have developers or even some that just want to learn how to develop in Corva's Dev Center. And then we even have outside parties coming in to just check out what it is, how to use it, and what it's all about in oil and gas.
You can either see it in the Dev Center Dataset Explorer, or you can see the traces and see what channels are there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can use either one.
Like as if it was a real one.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Brandon Jenkins. I'm a dev advocate here at Corva, and to support Corvathon, walking around to each team and kind of just seeing what they need from kind of the Corva's infrastructure and dev center platform.
Yeah, so right now I think they're moving at a good pace. They're not moving too slow. A lot of the projects were already thought of before they came in. So they were internal business problems that they're looking to bring here and team up with even Corva's developers to solve together.
Yeah, so we're just facing some initial challenges on making sure that our sample data set has all of the required inputs. So our friend Sai with Corva is taking care of that. He's checking out the sample well to make sure we've got everything we need. And we've got our friend Eduardo inside working on the UI. He actually flew in from Mexico City today, so special guest.
We're coming up with a new idea. We're trying to implement it really fast in one day. Just make some prototype. You see what happens.
Oh no, this is the app. Okay, right.
Go into the, oh yeah, you got it. I think you did a fetch earlier.
At whatever the state it is, I mean, it really depends. It could be on average, let's say 20%.
Yeah, rigor is a list, but let's assume each rigor is.
I'm good at like typing pseudocode, then we can fix it.
That record.
This is our first hackathon, so we've never done this before internally. So it's been pretty cool working with him and Michael to bring together this really big event. We've added it to Corvacon, making it a 2-day event, which is the first of its kind for us. So it's pretty fun.
Awesome. So I'm Jeff Jensen here with Corva, and we kicked off the hackathon yesterday, and a big thanks to Michael and Katie with Corva as well for getting everything organized and put together. What you're going to see shortly, we'll have the teams come up and present what they were able to accomplish in the last 24 hours. To give you an idea about the context, just real quick, of the hackathon, we had partner companies, folks from Corva, and essentially we set up real data on a fictitious company in the Dev Center and really allowed the teams to open up their creativity and to focus on building an app to solve a real world problem. So during these presentations, I think it'll be really neat to see the apps that they came up with. And we are judging based on categories of the idea of the app, the execution, and the impact of the app. We have prizes for the teams that are selected in those categories. And so hopefully this will give you a real idea and some flair of what can happen within 24 hours of working on Dev Center and getting all the right people together. So I guess, Michael, are we going to do the presentations for folks? Okay, perfect.
Awesome. I'm just going to stall for Callis for a minute here while he switches over laptops. But we had a really cool experience yesterday. It was my first hackathon, first time ever planning one. But thanks to Jeff and his leadership on doing that. So we had a partner company, Frontier. They built something super cool. They actually were developing in Dev Center already for a couple weeks, and so we just kind of pushed that over the line there and helped them with some UI. And then we had Shell come in, and they had their awesome logic, and they worked with Sai, and they worked with Eduardo over here for front end. And then we had Oxy in, and they worked with Mo, which is a Corva R&D engineer, and they work with Anton, who's one of our front end developers from Kiev, and they built something super cool. And then we had our own internal R&D team, and they put their brains together, and they worked on something they kind of had in the back burner for quite some time, and they actually put it together and developed it. So it was pretty awesome. All right, so let's bring up Mo first with Corva, and he helped work on this Oxy app here.
Okay, hello everyone. I'm Mo, and with Ali Karimi from Oxy and Anton, our front-end developer, we have been creating this scheduling optimization app. So basically, the objective here is if you have multiple pads and each have multiple wells, you want to basically see how to start, how to drill, and the wells in order to have the maximum cash flow. There are some operational constraints here that needs to be considered, but for the sake of, we made it simple because of the time constraint that we had. So in this specific example, we have 3 pads, each have 3 wells, which we already know, some specification about these wells, like, the latitude, longitude, the drilling and completion duration and cost, and also the production decline curve. For the simplicity, we use the exponential curve. The first operational input is for how long you want to optimize. For instance, from now to 12 months from now. And then assuming the oil price of 50, to be conservative, and then operational cost, assuming, for instance, in this case, is $10 per barrel of oil. And then when you submit that, it would do the background calculation and send the results back to the front end. So for this specific application, this is the front end app that you see. It sends a request to a backend app, and then get the response back and shows in the front end. So what we see here is the well ID and then the pad ID. So basically, we tell you, for instance, this well needs to be started first. The white box shows the drilling and completion time. And then this is the production time frame, and then the next well, and then it goes for the rest of the wells to basically maximize the cash flow. And basically, it finds the the optimum objective function, which is in this case, in this time frame, 28 million has been the cash flow, and the total oil produced has been around 2 million barrels. You can basically change all these parameters here and basically get different results. For instance, I'm reducing the old price in order to, see the results back. It takes a while to do the optimization. But meanwhile, so for for the future work, we have been thinking about adding more realistic operational parameters, and also trying to add basically more parameters in for these analysis. If you have any question, I would be happy to answer.
You're open for questions. So anyone have any questions about development or go ahead.
Does it take into account parameters like mobilization, demobilization time?
So we considered, so for this case, we have the well parameters and also the rig parameters. So the original rig location has been considered, and when it goes to the next well, that time period has been, eliminated from the production or from the drilling time. It has been considered.
Good question. Any other questions? Awesome. All right. Good job. Oh, got one? Got one? All right.
So the white part of the bar, is that the time for drilling and completions, and why do those bars vary for different wells?
So that has been the input, for the simplicity. So that's basically the white bar is the drilling and completion. So basically, we are assuming the completion happened immediately after the drilling, so it's just one box. And then assuming also the production happens after, immediately after the completion. That's all for the simplicity. As you know, we just had one day to make a demo.
Awesome, good question. We have any more? All right, let's give it up. Good job.
Thank you so much.
Callis, you want to go to the next one? Oh, I got it up here. I'm in control. All right, Svein, you want to come up and speak? Cool. Come on up.
Thanks, Michael. First of all, I want to thank Corva for inviting us here, Michael, and my teammates, and especially Daniel and Elizabeth from Corva that really helped us out to make this prototype. Closer?
Yeah.
So the challenge that we wanted to look at is from my field of work, which is managed pressure drilling. I really like the tagline of this session here because turning data into insights is what we're trying to do with this app. We produce a lot of data from our sensors, from our control systems, but it's not always easy for field or office personnel to understand what is going on and also the effect of what they're doing. So what we try to do basically is the objective of MPD is to apply surface pressure to ensure that the bottom hole pressure is within a certain range, right? We want to especially prevent influx during drill pipe connections. So that's the use case here, where the idea was to have a back-end app that analyzes the drilling data, identifies connections, pumps off events, and then calculates statistics based on the choke pressure that we're applying to the well, which you can see here on these box plots here, where we do some statistics. So every box here is a drilling connection, and you can see the range and the maximum and minimums of the surface pressure. So the idea there was, first of all, what's the performance of the MPD system out there? But the next challenge we wanted to look at was, okay, what does that mean for the operation? So we decided to look at the resulting bottoms-up gas in a time period of 1 hour after the connection. So that's the red line that you can see overlaid here. So the meaning of this would be, for example, you can see gas comes up here in the time period after these two connections. So that means that maybe we're not holding enough pressure on the well bore because gas is coming in from the well. One more thing that we put in with the help from Elizabeth and also the remote designer that we had help us, MPD is about knowing what pressure to apply. So we have an option in here which allows you to put in basically your bottom hole set point and the depth at which you want to apply that constant pressure. So if we change, for example, the bottom hole set point, it moves the line here, which is the theoretical set point of the pressure that you should be holding during connections. So I thought that was a nice feature where a drilling engineer in town can take a look at the operation and look at the last number of connections. And then first of all, see, okay, are we holding the pressure that we should based on, rules of thumb? And secondly, see the effect of what we're doing by looking at the gas on surface. So that's what we built. I think we had some challenges in the back end, primarily because our data is not available in the standard width stream. So that's something we need to work on to get that added, get it into the cloud. So we use some of our own data here from a real operation. And anything else that I forgot to mention, guys?
Just a comment on the data set. So Vine brought his data set with extra empty channels that were not available in the sample well. But the nice thing it was my first time to actually add this new database to Corva. And I think less than an hour, I was able to import this new file, create a database, and then consume it there. So although we did not have for this mockup, from the wells that we have MPD, we simply connect and map extra channels as we usually do, and then this app would be able to work. For the purpose of the hackathon, in a few minutes, we were able to download the data and import to use. Very nice.
Awesome. Any questions?
Too complicated.
Awesome. All right, let's give it up. Let's give it up for Frontier. Awesome. All right, we want to get the Shell team up.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jarrell Jallarina. I am here with Shell Oil Company. I've got Misal Uzcategui, who's also with Shell, Eduardo, and Sai, who are with Corva. And today we'll be talking about the Digital Mud Engineer project that we put together yesterday for the hackathon. So the Digital Mud Engineer app is a process safety visualization dashboard that we've put together. And the concept is that you'd be taking X amount of channels. For the mock-up that we've designed here, we have two channels here, the flow in, flow out channel and the active pit channel. And each of these channels would have a green, yellow, red light traffic indicator type signal to indicate the health of the channel, so to speak. So to perform these calculations on the back end, we're taking in things like flow in and flow out, tank levels, and et cetera, things like that, which is why we've coined it the Digital Mud Engineer. As it's performing many of the aspects that a mud engineer would perform on site. The purpose of the dashboard is that now with this visualization tool, one person could do the task that it would require many people to take, since now you're just looking at this one visualization dashboard with traffic lights. So the demo that we're looking at here is running in real time, or at least pseudo real time. So if you would imagine that you're a well engineer or a driller on site and you'd have this dashboard in front of you, and rather than having to track things like gain loss and watching your flow in and flow out throughout the drilling process, you'd have a very simple visual dashboard to look at. So another key part of the application is that all of these micro statuses for each channel summarize up to an overall status. So people like managers and people in the office can have this dashboard set up where you'd have that overall status for many wells displayed at a single time, and you'd be able to key in on wells that are having issues, primarily, again, process safety issues. So I've discussed the data that we've taken in. We are currently running this on the sample well. I think that's correct. We did some work yesterday on swapping back and forth between a sample well and an actual Shell well, since we are considering on intaking more inputs. But yeah, this is being performed on the sample well. And in addition to the upper half of the page, which is the real-time portion, you can see the horizontal bar along the bottom shows you a historical view of these signals. I think that is what we'd like to share for our presentation. And with that, I'm open to questions.
All right, do we have any initial questions here? What was the most challenging part about developing, in a day this? What were some of the challenges you guys had to overcome?
Yeah, of course, I could talk about the back-end issues with data availability, but I think those are issues that are common for any sort of application like this. But one issue that I think we would have encountered if it wasn't for the help from Eduardo would have been the front-end design portion, because our team, we don't really have anyone that specializes in JavaScript and things like that. So the visualization portion would have been difficult for us, but it was made possible.
Awesome. And what about the logic for this app? Was this something that you guys put together before you came, or did you have it, or did you develop it more after you got here? Or?
Many of the concepts for the logic we've spitballed and mocked up and trialed in the past outside of a Corva setting with other forms of technology and applications. So a lot of the core logic existed, but we mostly coded everything from scratch yesterday, even the logic.
That's awesome. So you took your logic, put it into Dev Center. Easy. Awesome. All right. No more questions. Give it up.
Thank you.
Cool.
Good job.
All right. Last one is going to be our Corva internal team here. Come on up. This is our R&D team.
Hello, everyone. It's so nice to be here, to be part of this hackathon. Some great ideas have been presented before us. We just decided to join in the hackathon as well. Don't worry, we took it easy on the other guys. Just some. So my name is Fahad Siddiqui, and more? Okay. All right. So my name is Fahad Siddiqui, if you didn't hear. This is Deep Joshi. This is Kriti Singh. And then right there, we have Dr. Andrew Tong. All of us are doctors, PhDs. So our group is called Dr. Strange. Yeah? Okay. So, yeah, at least we should get the prize for the name and the way we set up our group. No? There's no prize for that? Okay. Okay, so this is an app for completions that we had been on the back burner, as Michael said earlier. We wanted to work on this, but because of interest or waiting for the hackathon to happen, so we decided that this would be a good chance to explore the Nolte-Smith plot. This is a very well-known plot used in completions to determine how the fracture is propagating, if it's propagating in length, width, or height, or if there's any screen out. So we took the data from the sample well that we had, and then we applied the backend logic. So ours is a backend app, and we processed all of that, calculated the net pressure and the time, and then we plotted, and then on each data point that you see, we segment or we classify that as being in a mode 1, mode 2, mode 3, and each of those modes means something when you are drilling. So let's say this red portion here that you see over here. So this means that you are at a risk of near wellbore screen out, which is really bad, which means you're going to fill up your wellbore with propant and you'll have to do cleanup and that sort of a thing. And the green here means that you are the fracture is growing in length and also height, which is a good thing, and so on. So over here, obviously the job had ended, and then you see this drop. So usually, like if you see a drop like this, maybe not at the end of the job, but like in the middle of the job, if you see a sudden drop in pressure, that usually means that there is a sudden area where the pressure could leak off, and so on. So we segment this, each of this point over here, and all of our app runs in background. And kind of like if you're familiar with Corva, then we have this activity detection kind of a thing. So we have this band over here that can tell you how the fracture was propagating while it was happening in real time. Unfortunately, our team did not have front-end resources available to us, so we did not build it into the Corva front-end, but the back-end logic was deployed, and it generated the data, and everything was, and even like first time using the Dev Center or not having too much experience with Dev Center, I think it was really great that we were able to do it in like one working day and get it done and get it ready. And also we created this visual on our own because all the other teams had stolen the front end.
I didn't supply them with all the resources, so.
All right, so.
Awesome.
Does anyone want to add anything?
Any questions about the Note Smith? This is real time. Any completions in here? Go ahead, Mo. The question is, do you process all the data in real time, or is it all in our collection or our database?
So this works in real time. So if you're familiar with Corva, the way treatment plot is, as the treatment plot gets populated in real time, this will also get populated in real time.
Question?
Just want to clarify, this is a surface pressure data or downhole pressure data?
The question is it surface pressure or downhole pressure data?
Excellent question. So as part of the requirement for this Nolte Smith to work properly, you need the bottom hole pressure data either measured or calculated. There has been some talk, and that was one of the challenges of not having to work on this Nolte Smith before, because not everyone is providing us with calculated with bottom hole pressure data, either calculated or other. And then hopefully, like putting this app into Dev Center will create this effect. Like then that channel will begin to be mapped and used by this. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, there are options of, if there's a channel that a service company can provide, say if you have a gauge, we can take into account that depth and then, read that pressure in there. We can take into account for density and hydrostatic pressure and stuff like that. Good question. Any other questions? Yep, back.
So it is plotted, if I can scroll. So it's plotted, it's supposed to be plotted log of pressure, net pressure versus log of time.
Yep, so x-axis is log of net pressure and the y
x-axis
is
is log of time.
Oh, I'm sorry, log of time. Yeah. Log of net pressure. Good question. Got one in the back there? You're asking if we can provide real-time limitations? Oh, real-time recommendations. Yeah. He's asking with this, if this is real-time, can you provide real-time recommendations as far as for frac?
So we can, at the first step, we can classify what the event was, if it's growing in height or if there's a near wellbore screen out happening. If that's a risk, then I think there are standard protocols for mitigating those.
Yeah, like something that says, cut sand, go to flush, something like that. Yeah. So I'd say.
Go ahead.
So, yeah, so if any of these modes are identified in real time, in Corva right now, we can create alarms specific to these conditions, and we can show the users that something's happening. Take a look at your frac.
Yeah, good question. Any other questions? All right, let's give it up for the Corva team. All right, so we do have a judge here that's going to help us, and we have some Corva people. We're going to take these back and do some judging on these apps, and we'll announce the different category winners later today. We got some really cool AirPod Pros to give out, put some other cool gifts for all the developers that participated. So really excited about that. In addition to that, this afternoon, I will have Eduardo available back there in the conference room. So anyone has questions about React, or you're working on something, or you need help maybe just getting over some code, he'll be available this afternoon. So, all right, thank you. All right, the judges are back there right now. All right, I think the judges coming to a decision. Garrett? All right. What's that?
All right, this is the moment everybody's been waiting for. Thank you all for participating, appreciate it. Let me introduce myself. I'm Garrett Leahy, I just started at Corva, and I'll be working with the Dev Center team to help us commercialize it. Really excited to see what happened, all the activity yesterday, and also really excited for you guys to give me feedback on what worked, what didn't work, and how we can get that out to improve the product. So all the projects were great. We had a really difficult time coming up with a decision for some of these categories. We have 3 categories for prizes. So the first category is for best idea. And this goes to a team who's really thinking of long-term value for the customer, looking for, where this is going to go in the future. And so we're going to award that to the Oxy team for their production scheduler.
Bo, you're going to accept that?
You want to say a few words? No, I'm just kidding. So the second prize goes towards execution. And one of the things that I was really impressed with is that this team is able to bring forward an app with a little bit of pre-work, but this is like really almost commercial ready to be deployed and used by the customers today. This is for the Frontier team for the managed pressure. So Sven, come on up. And that thing looks ready to deploy, so we're going to get that out soon. So our last category is for best impact value for the customer. And I was really excited to see this focus on process safety. I really like that monitoring job. So come on up, Shell. Come get it. So again, thank you everybody for participating. It was really great to see. And let's give everybody a round of applause. And please find me, Michael, Brandon, the rest of the Dev Center team. If you guys have projects you want to talk about today, you want to learn more about what we're doing at Corva, come find us. We'll have those conversations. And I think lunch is next. Is that right, Ryan?
Yeah, so lunch is across the way at the Powder Keg, if anyone knows. There's like many options there, different types of food trucks and whatnot. So the best way to get there, would be out either down or around, but there's a middle exit over there, and then you just walk across. So grab anyone from Corva if you can't find it. Thanks.